You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
The start to the season's been a disaster. The goaltending stinks. The team is too old. They can't skate. Everything's bad. They might not be a playoff team. They could be first place in the Pacific tonight. Let's get into it with the lead.
I didn't know that.
With a win tonight, combined with a Vegas and Calgary loss, you need all of those parts. But yes, the Edmonton Oilers could move into a tie for the top spot in the Pacific Division. Things aren't all that bad for the 10-8-2 Edmonton Oilers. Welcome into a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the program.
Welcome to the program, everyone.
Welcome to the program. Live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Head over to my Instagram if you want a little teaser for what our new studio could look like.
Oh, it actually looks pretty good right now.
We got lights,
cameras,
we got microphones,
we got chairs,
a fridge, in-suite laundry,
bath, bed,
bathroom,
house coats.
Don't spoil too many of our good surprises.
You mentioned the laundry. I thought we were open season.
Fair enough. All right. Giddy up. Welcome into the show. We got a loaded one for you. Hello. Tyler Ennis is going to join us in 13 minutes on the nose. Jeff Marek will join us later on in the show as well, making his return. We're eventually going to get to a point where we have Jeff Marek every week, but he's so dang busy that it's hard to get him. So he's moving around on the days. Also, sad news to report. You want to play like a... Jason Demers will not be available this week.
What? Why? You don't tell me this stuff.
I never tell you anything. He texted me on the way in. He's got the Joe Thornton retirement tomorrow. He's busy doing stuff for that.
Fair enough.
Do you want to know my response to him was?
For his 1,000th point.
He goes, "Hey, buddy, I'll be at the Thornton retirement tomorrow. It'll be tough for me to pop on if that's cool." I said, "No sweat. Enjoy it. Remember the game he got 1,000 points? That was unforgettable." And then he said, F off. I'm not doing the show anymore. So I don't know. Whatever. It was worth getting the joke off, though. I regret nothing.
He said $200 a show.
Yeah, $250 a show. Jason, I have to e-transfer you myself. Stop doing this to me. But I do it because I care about you, the listener.
That's what people don't know. This comes right out of our pockets. All these guests.
I had someone text me the other day. They're like, do these people just come on for fun? I was like, oh, God, no. These people do not like us that much. We have to pay them money. Except Frank. He actually does like us.
Well, he gets a paycheck from the company.
Yeah, so does Marek.
Yeah, so.
And Bruce Kurlock. But the other guys don't like us enough to hang out with us today on a regular basis, which sucks.
Yeah,
that's life.
We'll get there.
Short for Giant Game Day. You and I were talking in our prep room.
Yep.
Because we do that sometimes. You know what? I don't remember the last time the Oilers had this many injuries. Edmonton, for the game tonight against the Minnesota Wild, will be missing 4 of their regulars, or 4 players that are on payroll. Evander Kane, obviously out. That's 1. We're counting it. Victor Arvidsson, not expected to play tonight. And Chris Knoblauch even saying he probably isn't going to play on Saturday either. So how something that was day-to-day has turned into what's going to be, a 10 to 12-day absence here? The last game he played was November 12th against the Islanders. So if he does not play Saturday, that means he's not playing till next Friday, the 29th. So again, he was day-to-day. He was 50-50 for a game a couple of weeks ago. And now we're sitting here. It's going to be a 17-day absence at the minimum for Victor Arvidsson.
I don't know why they didn't just say week to week.
I don't know. Why do the Oilers lie to us?
I just, you'd think Knoblauch would just like to save himself the hassle of saying day to day every day. These guys surely get frustrated by answering the same questions all the time. But on that note, is kind of sucks. The Oilers top 6 actually looks fine. The bottom 6, especially that 4th line, is looking a little bleak right now. And I mean, hey, we haven't even mentioned the blue line.
Yeah, mistaken Mexican. Next thing you know, he'll surface in Germany. But Zach Hyman didn't play in the 3rd period last game. He is going to be out for the next, call it little bit, 4 to 7 days is what head coach Chris Knoblauch said. So again, no Hyman tonight, no Hyman Saturday. Hoping when, again, the things kind of pick up next Friday in Utah, because they have this 5-day break, that the Oilers actually could be totally healthy. The one encouraging sign from the Oilers head coach this morning was that Darnell Nurse is a possibility for Saturday. So again, not for tonight against Minnesota, but on Saturday, Nurse could play. I'll be totally honest with you, and Nurse did his first media avail since the hit the other day too. he kind of said, like, it's up to a handful of people. The doctors, the coaching staff, they all have to clear him. And he also said, like, himself, like, he has to feel good enough and ready to go. So Darnell Nurse, unavailable tonight, maybe Saturday. I got a sneaking suspicion that we are not going to see him till next Friday in Utah. So
I wonder if these injuries up front, you almost have to see him on Saturday. Like, not have to, because obviously, like, if he doesn't feel right, he shouldn't go. But, like, I wonder if that kind of pushes the agenda a little bit, him being like, like, maybe I feel good enough to go, because you're playing the Rangers at the end of the day. Thankfully, it's an out-of-division, out-of-conference matchup.
Jason Greger passing along a quote that Darnell Nurse had on the Ryan Reeves hit. He said, there is some onus on the player with the puck to be aware of where everyone is on the ice. With that said, even if you put yourself in a bad spot, there is a lot of body on a 6'4" hockey player to hit, and not one piece was touched other than my head.
He said that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I think that really does, and we're going to talk, Jeff Marek, we're going to ask him about that hit last night. AB, we played it on DFO Live, so maybe we could pull it up for the Marek hit and kind of go through it. But I think that's exactly how you sum it up, especially if you want to compare it to that hit last night, White Cloud on Nyes. Like, Ryan Reeves picked Darnell Nurse's head.
Yeah.
He came in, he could have, again, I know Nurse stopped up, but if you're Ryan Reeves, you're also an NHL player, supposedly. You should be able to adjust as well and hit him in the body. Zach Whitecloud was staring at nothing but chest the whole way through that neutral zone, popped him in the chest, got his head as a repercussion of that in the process of all that. But the primary contact was shoulder, bicep, right to a guy's chest, sternum.
Yeah, that hit last night, we'll get into it a little bit more later, like you said, but I thought it was a good hit, to be honest. Like, obviously, unfortunate to get the head in the incident, but like someone said it in the chat there, it's a hockey hit. I think it was Maynard. Yeah, it's just hockey hit. It happens, but it's not even a comparison to what Nurse had to deal with the other day. Like you said, it's just directly to the head.
Yeah, totally. So Darnell Nurse, good to see him back on the ice, but not available tonight as Edmonton takes on the Minnesota Wild. Liam,
Tyler.
there's some news in the chat here, and I want you to stay very calm when I tell you this, all right?
Okay.
You know who's drawing in apparently for the Minnesota Wild tonight?
No way.
Devin Shore. Adam Anderson says it. I double-checked Daily Faceoff. Indeed, he is listed on the fourth line for the Minnesota Wild.
How exciting.
Does that change your opinion of wanting to go to the game tonight?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's a very few times I can wear my Devin Shore jersey.
Go watch warm-up with the jersey backwards, Shore on the front.
He's not played for the Minnesota Wild this season. He's having a good year in the American League. 14 games, 10 points. He's actually, I totally understand what Devin Shore is, by the way. But, like, he really is kind of like that quad A player. I was like, he's not good enough to be an everyday NHLer, but, like, he's almost too good to be an American League player, or, like, one of the better American League players.
Very good American League player, but just not good enough to be a regular NHLer.
Yeah. I'm excited. I wonder, tribute video?
No. There was someone when, Pugliarvi. They didn't give him a tribute video.
Tyson Berry didn't get one.
Tyson Berry. Berry got one last time he came, though, didn't he?
Nope. Yamamoto didn't get one either. I was at I think I was at the Yamamoto game, and I was surprised they didn't acknowledge him. But I think it's also good because you kind of got to get to the point where it's like, you kind of acknowledge every player who comes and passes through, right?
That's where I'm at, too. The Minnesota Wild this year are 12-3-3. We joke that they are the Minnesota Mild, but there are two things that are true. They're playing damn good hockey right now, and they usually beat the Edmonton Oilers. So that's a little concerning.
Yeah, they you go check out game notes on Oilers Nation right now, but Bag Milk puts up there. It's just like, they're a team with a lot of dead cap space and don't have like a ton of guys signed to huge deals, if I'm remembering correctly, and somehow getting it done. So really, like, credit to them. They've been killer on the road too, which I'll get to later on.
How many more points do you think Kirill Kaprizov has than second on the Wild?
Oh, I think he has 33 points, right?
Yeah, he does.
I'll say 10, 12.
14. He has 14.
Matt Boldy?
Yeah, Matt Boldy, second on the team. He has 18 more than third on the team. That would be Marco Rossi. So Boldy and Rossi, both very good quality young players. Like, Boldy is going to be a 40-goal guy this year. I'm pretty convinced of that. They got good pieces on the back end like Brock Faber, but this is, and this sounds harsh, they are a good team. Good team, not a great team. They're a good team, even if their results are great. They're a good team with good goaltending. I'll also give them that.
Yeah.
But offensively, man, they're a little bit of a one-man attack here. And I know what you're going to say if you're an Oilers hater in the YouTube chat. The Oilers are a two-man team. Yes, but they're a two-man team, not a one-man team. You know, I just look at Kaprizov like there's a reason he has absolutely catapulted and skyrocketed into the top spot in the Hart Trophy odds over on Bet365. Like, his dude is carrying this team. And that is why, as we get into talking about this hockey game tonight, I kind of like, even with all the injuries, I kind of like that the Oilers are going with Connor and Leon together. Power on power. I want Chris Knobloch, like Jameson Williams when he was scoring that touchdown the other day, he went like that.
Oh, the Marshall Lynch.
Yeah, I want him to look across at John Hines and go, power on power, big guy. Let's go.
Whoa.
Yeah. Thoughts on that?
I don't know if I ever want to see that face again. Yeah, but I think it is a good thing the Oilers are kind of going the way they are. At the end of the day, they're so banged up with injuries right now too. Yeah. And it's funny, just look at, like you said, Dan, 14-point difference in between him and Boldy. Just in November alone, Kaprizov has 15 points, 8 of those goals. Matt Boldy in 9 games has 8. So he's literally doubling him in points. 6 of those points of goals for Boldy.
Wow.
Well. Yeah.
They do have a supporting cast. I'm not trying to sit here and be like, they don't have a supporting cast. And yes, they have been getting great goaltending this year. Like, Philip Gustafsson is one of the best goalies in the NHL statistically so far this season. And now, from Edmonton's sake, you go, hey, it's nice. We're catching a break. We're not getting the other team's starter. But when your backup is Marc-Andre Fleury, okay, not much of a break. Fleury, last season in the NHL, is 3-0-1 with a .904 save percentage, a .270 goals against average. So Fleury's putting together some good numbers. May I also add, I think Marc-Andre Fleury is making a case to be on Team Canada's Four Nations roster. Okay, when you look at the amount of shit that they have to pick from, I not to be disrespectful to NHL goaltenders, but to
be totally disrespectful because they all suck right now.
There's not a lot of goalies that are Canadian born that are pumping a 900 or better right now.
Yeah.
Fleury's one of them. He's played on big stages before. He's going to be somewhat well rested because the Wild play Gustafsson a ton. I'm just saying. I think even just having him in the room, having him around, if you want to go with younger goalies around him, having him there is valuable.
Yeah. I'm not totally against it. And like you said, you're kind of this Hockey Canada thing with the goalies. Like, one thing I just don't understand is how Jordan Binnington and Aiden Hill keep getting their names thrown on this list.
Jordan Binnington is not the best Canadian-born goalie on his team.
No, and Aiden Hill his numbers are worse than Skinner, or right around Skinner as well, and he's totally not in the conversation.
But he won a Stanley Cup.
So Fleury won 3, right?
Yeah, and I hate that too when people are like, yes, it gives him credit because he's played in big games.
Yes, totally.
But winning and losing has he played in big games? Check or no check? If you're going to give Aiden Hill a check for being a big game goalie, give Stuart Skinner that same check.
Yeah,
he didn't win the Stanley Cup, but again, has all the same experience that Aiden Hill does.
Totally. 888 this season for Aiden Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, Binnington won a cup too. I get that. I know. And yes, he has big game experience. But if I'm picking someone off big game experience, I'm picking Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
And if I'm picking someone off numbers, I'm picking Fleury over those guys.
I'm totally with you. I have more with you now than I was 2 minutes ago.
Hell yeah. It's good teamwork right there. Minnesota so far this season, another thing that has obviously really helped them out is their ability to prevent goals. And goals against, yes, best number in the league. They also have the best expected goals against per 60 at 5-on-5 in the NHL. That really speaks to their ability to keep teams to the outside. And that is one thing that concerns me coming into this matchup tonight. As much as Edmonton did a better job against Ottawa compared to Montreal of getting to the middle of the ice and creating some havoc, we always like to say you create your own luck, right? Throw pucks towards the net, get bodies around the blue paint, and you're going to score. Minnesota is one of the best teams in the league at keeping guys out of that range. So that is a little bit concerning tonight as the Oilers look to win their second straight hockey game. Yes, Drake Caggiula did get called up. Thank you, Mark. We did miss that earlier. And I'm not even being sarcastic this time. We actually did miss that earlier. So Drake Caggiula expected to be in the lineup tonight as the Oilers deal with a plethora of injuries up front. And yes, Josh Brown sent back down to the minors. So we'll give you your forward lines on each side of this thing. Talk about the newest Oiler, Kasperi Kapanen, in a little bit. But for now, let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line. It is Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. And on days like today, their phone is ringing off the hook. Our boy Red from Star Mechanical, he's working late tonight. He's throwing overtime on that timesheet because when it's snowing like this in Edmonton, That's where Star Mechanical provides that elite 24/7 emergency service. Check them out online, starmechanical.ca, as we welcome former NHLer and Edmonton product Tyler Ennis back to the show. Do you miss the first good snowstorm of the year in Edmonton? Is there a party that's like, I wouldn't mind being there?
I was just going to ask, so it's snowing in Edmonton right now?
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
Really? I don't miss that. I mean, I'm in Kelowna, so I'm anticipating the snow here as well. But yeah, snowstorms and just weather in general in winter hit different in Edmonton. People don't understand how cold it can get, but hopefully you guys are staying warm.
It's just so annoying. Like, just to wake up in the morning, the day before, it's like totally fine. And you wake up and you're like, oh, nice. Now I have to drive in this with all these other idiots that are on the road that everyone just forgets how to do it.
If I was driving
Drives me
behind someone
nuts.
today down Groat Road, they were going like 24. I was
Come
like,
on.
what are you like?
It's not that bad.
It's not like the snow comes and you forget how to
Yeah.
drive. And again, not all of us are like Connor McDavid with the heated driveway either. Were you? Did Connor get you on the heated driveway when you were here, or were you a shoveler?
Growing up, I was definitely a shoveler, and then I didn't own a house in Edmonton. I had a condo, so I didn't worry about that too much. But I will say Connor's the only person I've ever heard of that has a heated driveway.
That makes sense, to be honest.
You know, if we can give anyone the pass too in Edmonton, we'll give Connor the pass for the heated driveway.
I
You
mean,
mentioned
shoveling is
you had a little weak part.
not fun. So if you can heat your driveway and avoid shoveling, I think it's a great investment.
You're coming up here. Like, I mean, we're in November now. We're getting right into the thick of the hockey season. It's your first year being retired. What's the mindset like for you? Are you like kind of getting an itch, or are you like fully bought in and enjoying just chilling?
Someone asked me that yesterday too. So I just moved to Kelowna, so I was building a house here. So it's been busy trying to organize everything. I haven't had time really to think about hockey in terms of missing it or playing it at all. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it hasn't maybe caught up to me yet, or I'm just good with being done. The time I miss it most is when I watch games and I see guys score and celebrate. I think that's a feeling that you can never replicate outside of anywhere in the world. I think scoring a goal and celebrating with your team is like the greatest feeling ever. So when I see the guys having fun on the ice, that's when I miss it. But when I think about putting the gear back on and tying my skates and all of the little things that go into it, you know, getting up and going to the rink and watching video. And by the time my career was over, I wasn't even really looking forward to taping my stick or anything. So all that stuff that goes into it, I don't miss it all. But I miss scoring goals and hanging out with the boys the most.
So you're not going to be one of those guys who's like hunting out beer league ice time in Kelowna?
There's a beer league, a really good one here, and I'll eventually get into it, like maybe next winter or something. I've been invited a few times, and I heard it's a great group of guys. And you know, my whole family back in Edmonton plays in a beer league, and it's their favorite thing that they do. So I'm excited to do that. But again, like even just putting my gear on feels like a lot of work right now. So next winter I'll get back into it.
That's how you know you're like, getting really into the retirement.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, putting on hockey gear, it seems like a bit much for me, honestly.
It really does.
Let's talk a little bit about this Oilers team. We saw them come out, play their, I think, worst game, or one of their worst games of the season against Montreal on Monday. But then they played that next Tuesday in Ottawa, like the next day, and they go and they, for lack of a better phrase, they kind of beat the wheels off the Senators. That game was never close. Is it sometimes good, like when you have a bad game like that, is it maybe good to just be right back at it the next night and not be sitting on it?
I think so. I think, when you have a team like Edmonton, who's, you know, there's a few guys on the team that can really dictate the outcome of a game and beat almost any team just like that. There's probably a certain confidence that, hey, you know, we struggled last night. We're going to go dominate here tonight. And the quicker that you can turn it around sometimes is great. I mean, you could argue that it's good to reset with a weekend, you know, just get back to basics of practice, have rest, all that stuff. But yeah, you're right. I think sometimes when you really are hungry to to rebound from a bad night, flipping it over and getting out there as quickly as possible is nice. So I also think it was an example of a group of guys knowing that they're better than that. You know, there was no accumulation of poor play. The next day, it was a great example of just knowing that you were going to win.
Is that maybe, just to follow up on that, is that maybe a byproduct of like this group has been together now for a while? It largely is the same core that's been running it back year after year. Like when they have a bad game like that, I feel like it's maybe not so much frustrating, and maybe it is like easier for them to turn the page a little bit because it's like they can all look at each other and there's a decent level of accountability, versus like if this was a group of young guys and rookies, or if this was a team like Nashville right now who's got a bunch of fresh faces and they can't seem to get anything going. Like, does the continuity in the roster and the core of this team help them maybe move on a bit quicker?
I would say the experience for sure. And then it almost seems, and I'm saying this in the best way possible, it seems like there's some cockiness there too. So they almost know like, hey, we're that good, we're going to turn it back on. And I think that's a great thing to have. If you have a cocky group, that's a good quality. And I think it's kind of what it looked like. You know, it was like we shit the bed in Montreal, and then they just dominated and turned it on the next day. And I think when you have a season like they had last year where they went the distance, I don't want to say that you can turn it off, but at this point in the season, there might be nights where you're that good where you can lay an egg and you're confident enough or cocky enough that you can just roll it back over. And I know they haven't exactly dominated this season, but I think that feeling is within them, and that's a very important feeling to have.
Vasily Podkolzin is someone who has somehow not scored a goal this season and not been thrown to the fourth line. He's been stuck next to Leon Draisaitl. In the last game, we saw him go and play with McDavid and Draisaitl. What do you have, 2 assists?
2 assists, yeah.
What does he need to do? And I guess what is an ideal line mate to play with McDavid and Draisaitl?
I don't know a whole lot about Podkolzin. I think he has looked good. I think he works hard. He looks like a big body that gets around, and he looks like he's working hard. And I like that. He's got a lot of effort out there. I think for a line mate for Connor and Leon, are you talking together or
together?
Okay. So the additional line mate for those two, my opinion, would be somebody that goes to the net. Connor and Leon have the puck so much, and they're doing so much that you need a net front presence. A guy that gets on the forecheck and hounds pucks and does everything to get it to them. So once you get it to them, go to the net and let them do their thing. And also have probably a defensive awareness a bit. So maybe in certain situations, understanding like I'm going to be the defensive mindset here, because Connor and Leon might be doing so much stuff in the O zone that you have to have that mindset that I got to be the one that maybe thinks defense a little bit more. But that's contradicting a bit because he's got to sit in front of the net too. So it's tough to be the net front guy and then also think I got to get back. But having that mindset is important. And then also just knowing these guys are going to do their thing. What I think is maybe the most important part would be, and it's difficult, but you have to be confident in your own self, because if all you're thinking of is, what are these guys doing? I gotta get these guys the puck, and you're like, oh my God, I'm playing with Connor and Leon. I don't think that's a good recipe. You got to be confident in yourself. When you have the puck, have a plan, but you also have to focus on, hey, I'm a good player. I'm gonna make my plays too, but ideally, go to the net, get the guys the puck. But you have to have your own certain confidence as well.
The Oilers are really banged up right now. I mean, we obviously know no Evander Kane. There's going to be no Zach Hyman tonight. There's going to be no Victor Arvidsson either. And that's just the forward groups. They're still without Darnell on the blue line. But with that forward group in particular, it's banged up right now. And that obviously really hurts the depth. So with that, and I mean, you're taking on a Minnesota team tonight that's got the one offensive superstar up front. Do you think it's better for Chris Knobloch to be going McDavid and Draisaitl together and doing the whole supernova, load up the big line thing? Or when you're banged up like this, is it better to split them apart? I guess if you were in charge, what would you be doing?
I would keep them apart as much as I can. I think that they could win games together in the regular season, and that's great. But the big goal is to win at the end and to have the best team in the playoffs. So if that means a little bit of growing pains throughout the lineup during the regular season, if you're that confident and cocky, you have to know that, okay, we might drop a game in the regular season, but it's going to help us in the playoffs. The best lineup for me for the Oilers is them split up and having depth throughout the lineup as much as they can. So I would sacrifice some areas of the regular season play, being confident enough that we're going to make the playoffs and this is the product we need in the playoffs, because I think that having them split is the best recipe for success in the playoffs. So winning in the regular season is so much different than the playoffs. I think if they're together tonight, they could pop off 4 goals and win the game.
Yeah.
But then you're not creating that right balance for the right time in the season, in my opinion.
I think that's fair. Last one I had for you. Earlier this week, we got our first coaching change of the NHL season with Montgomery out in Boston. Did you ever go through an in-season coaching change when you were a player?
Yeah, I did. I went through definitely the first one. I had Lindy Ruff in Buffalo, who was there a long time and was a legend there. He got traded mid-season, and that was strange. And then after that, I think all the changes happened after the season. But the Lindy Ruff one was intense because he is a legend in Buffalo and has had, and up to that point had a lot of success. No cups, obviously, but some great teams and some long playoff runs.
Yeah. So what's it like kind of that next day coming into the room as a player? Like, I mean, I was going and I was going and watching some of the media avails in Boston. Like those guys obviously wore it pretty hard. They had Montgomery there for a couple of seasons, but what's it like that next day when you're showing up to the rink? Is it a little jarring?
It is. I think it depends on the situation of the individual. And then as a group, the feeling is unique too. So it's 2 different feelings. You have to separate from your individual experience and the group as a whole, because there's so many guys in a team. One particular player might not like the coach, so he's happy that he's gone. One particular player might love the coach, so he's devastated. But as a unit, you feel like a failure. So things are not going right, especially with a guy like Montgomery, who everyone I've ever talked to loves him. Apparently he's amazing. So to lose that guy knowing that you're the reason is difficult. But I don't think it'll take long for Montgomery to get another job. From everyone I've talked to, he's great.
Yeah, I think remember a couple of years ago, Claude Julien got canned in Boston, and then a week later, Montreal fired their coach and hired Claude Julien. Like I think we'll see that with Montgomery. I think by the end of December at the latest, I think another team's going to fire their coach, and just for the opportunity to pick up Jim Montgomery, who was in the last year of his deal too. Tyler, appreciate your time as always, man. Enjoy the hockey this week, and we'll chat again next Thursday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya.
There you go, Tyler Ennis from beautiful Kelowna. I like the view he's got set up for us now. That's sharp. That's looking good.
It's a Tyler Ennis game tonight.
It is Edmonton, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 73 games. Yeah. He had a good year in Minnesota, 22 points that season, and a playoff game.
Really?
I didn't know the Wild made the playoffs that year, 2017, 2018.
There you go. Josh Brown got called back up.
Josh Brown got called back up.
Yeah. So
Why?
I don't know. Cap thing, I guess.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of cap gymnastics.
Or Kapanen just did one. Oh, maybe Kajula. No, Kajula would get you quick enough. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think they were saying Kajula is going to be good to go. That might be a thing. They might have put him down, get the cap relief. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, we need a seventh guy just in case there's an injury tonight. Although I was thinking that would be more of like couldn't they recall him on an emergency basis? I don't exactly know how that works though.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. But he's back.
He is back. Not expected to play tonight in the expected lineup. Speaking of which, let's dig into things a little bit and get to a lineup report for tonight's hockey game. It is brought to you by our friends over at Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Hockey fans helping hockey fans. Nation Valet Service is here, so you never have to visit the dealership again for your car service. It does not matter if you drive a Ford or not. You can take advantage of the valet service at Sherwood Ford, the Giant. And if you're driving to work today and you're sliding all over the place, get your winter tires changed, and then you can even store your summer tires at Sherwood Ford, one of the many services they offer hockey fans who love helping hockey fans. Your lineup tonight for the Oilers: McDavid, Draisaitl, and Vasily Podkolzin. I understand where Ennis is coming from, and I don't disagree with the idea of, yes, you want to rack up a couple of quick wins. Like doing it against Ottawa, boom, you go basically guaranteed win because Connor and Leon dominate them.
Yeah.
Tonight against Minnesota, you have this one-on-one matchup where it's Kaprizov and the big guns, and I like going toe-to-toe with that group tonight. I also see where Ennis is coming from of like sacrifice those games, give Connor and Leon more games, maybe with a Skinner, maybe with a whoever it ends up being. And again, I know they're banged up, but like give them more games with those guys, and maybe you build up some chemistry. Maybe it ends up paying dividends down the line.
Maybe. I just think there's so many guys out tonight that it's hard to... Like, who do you then put on, like, the wings, I guess? Like, does Kapanen go straight? Like, I just see so much unfamiliarity with it. I actually don't hate this lineup that much. That third line has been playing decent recently. Skinner and Nuge got to be a bit better. But I do think Nuge has kind of turned a bit of a corner. I think these last two games have been pretty solid from him offensively. And Kapanen, you hope he's a guy who can kind of come in hungry to get some things done and prove that it's still like a reliable NHL guy who can score some points here and there and be a middle six forward. Like, not really proving it this year, but clearly wasn't working for him in St. Louis anymore. So we'll see what he does. I'm excited and curious about him, I think is a good way to put Kapanen.
Yeah, and I think Mulik was the one that pointed it out. You have last change tonight on home ice. So you have a chance to maybe go into the blender a little bit. The second line for the Oilers, Nuge, Skinner, and Kapanen. I would say if there are any two forwards facing pressure tonight or one line that's facing the most pressure tonight, it's that second line for a multitude of reasons. Nuge, let's go. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not saying he's an everyday center. We know he's not that anymore, but giddy up. You make $5 and a bit million. If the Oilers need you to be a good centerman for a week, you should be able to do the job. And he was good against Ottawa. I'm not saying he wasn't. Jeff Skinner, drive play, be dangerous offensively. That's, again, a guy who he can score when he's getting chances. And last game, I thought against Montreal had a couple of nice looks. I know he hit a shot prop. Against Ottawa, he was carrying the puck into the zone a little bit. I want him to be a bit more dangerous. And with Kapanen, make a good first impression, my guy. Like you just got claimed on waivers by a team who's not particularly high in the waiver order. Like if there's any time for you to be sent a message that you're barely hanging on as an NHLer, this is it. And Edmonton is giving you a goddamn glorious opportunity to start on their second line.
That could really be a big acquisition. Like trying to be optimistic about it, you know, like he's a guy who's done it in the league. He's only 28, $1 million. Like if he hits, they have two guys in the top six tonight who make $1 million.
Oh yeah. Third line, Henrique, the janitor, and Connor Brown. Again, I like this dependability. I like the kind of play that the second and third line have off each other where like, hey, you got the second line, start them in the ozone a little bit, give them some good matchups, see if they can score you a goal. This third line, give them some tough minutes if you need to, because I think they're good enough defensively to handle it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Derek Ryan, Drake Kajula, and Corey Perry is the fourth line for the Edmonton Oilers. Can I give you a little take here? Night one of the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, none of these three should be in the lineup.
The fourth line?
Fourth line.
Perry will be.
Mulik again to give him some more love. He put in there, would love to see a fourth line one day of Philp, Kapanen, and Podkolzin.
I don't think they'll drop Podkolzin that low.
But think of it like, again, let's talk playoffs here, right? Or closer to the playoffs. You could run a top line that is McDavid, Nuge, Hyman. Okay, we like that.
Yeah.
You could run a second line that is Draisaitl, Skinner, Arvidsson. Okay. You could run a third line then that is Skinner, Henrique, Brown. Oh man, then where's Evander Kane going? Interesting. Oh yeah, maybe none of those guys are even in the lineup. Like Podkolzin's got to produce, and I do like what we're seeing out of him, and we're seeing this whole narrative being pushed right now of look how hard he's working, which I find so funny that like McDavid was complimentary of him, and Podkolzin staying late after practice, and people were like, well, Puljujarvi never did this. Puljujarvi did all of this.
Yeah.
You remember the one day he was practicing one-timers with McDavid late on the ice, and a bunch of people made fun of him, and they're like, he can't even hit his one. And it's like, okay, but all of a sudden we love Podkolzin. I thought that was weird. But anyways, the Oilers are going to have a kind of logjam of forwards here when everyone, knock on wood, if everyone gets healthy, that for a guy like Kapanen, you got to go now. You got to, again, you have a chance here to kind of prove yourself and maybe even stay in the lineup when guys start returning, but you got to come in and land with a bang. So, yeah. But again, when everyone's healthy, like, again, just trying to do that exercise was a bit of a mind pretzel for me. Like, if you go McDavid, Nuge, Hyman, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and let's throw Podkolzin there.
I think it's Podkolzin.
Okay, so then your third line could be Skinner, Henrique, and like flip Evander Kane to the other side. And then your fourth line would be Janmark, Brown, and maybe Philp. And then you're healthy scratching Perry, you're healthy scratching Derek Ryan, you're healthy scratching Kapanen. I mean, who knows if that even works out. Mulick's talking about bringing up Savoy. Like, there's just no room for him if everyone's healthy. And again, it's only a good thing if these guys are healthy and playing well. But
yeah, everyone's got to get on the same page here with their health. But yeah, they got a lot of players.
Yeah.
I don't like the defensive side of that third line, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah. Deep pairings tonight. Kulak, Stetcher, Ekholm, Bouchard, Dermott, and Emberson. Don't love that third pairing. Honestly, I would have Emberson and Kulak together. I'd go Stetcher, Dermott, and I'd play them 7 minutes. And I'd say Ekholm, Bouch, Kulak, Emberson. You guys are going to get a lot of minutes tonight. You're probably going to get a lot of minutes on Saturday. And then we can you get your 5 days off, and then Darnell's back, and then we can go back to normal. But I'm very nervous about basically having one of Stetcher or Dermott on the ice for 66% of this hockey game.
It's interesting that they spread this out, but didn't spread out the forwards.
Yeah, I see what you mean there.
Yeah. But I don't know. Dermott and Stetcher, if you can pick your spots for them tonight if you put them on a pair, and like it shouldn't be.
Emberson's been physical as of late too.
He has turned a corner on that.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice to see the way he's developed. And I think, again, some people were kind of like, he's junk in the first month of the season. He had 30 NHL games under his belt. Like, give the guy some time here. And I think we're starting to see maybe the reward of that patience. All right. Part 2 of the Star Mechanical Guest Line today, Liam. We loaded her up today because it's a short for Giant Game Day. Part 2, Star Mechanical Guest Line. Check them out online, starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. It's a snowstorm in Edmonton, which means they're probably busy as we welcome in our boy, Jeff Marek, back to the program. Jeff, how's it going?
It's good. Hang on. Let me get my kid in the shot. Brody, say hi.
Oh, hello.
So there's one of my kids. I'm waiting for my other kid to get. My other kid's in high school. I'm waiting for him to come out, and they're skating in an hour. So we're doubling up here and getting them on the ice. What's going on, boys?
You are a busy hockey parent as well. Holy,
it's a full-time job, right? You know what though? You know what the cool thing is, and I'll be totally selfish. Every Wednesday, this guy. Where's my camera here? This guy. Brody, say hi again.
Hi.
So this guy plays at Westwood Arena in the west end of Toronto. He plays for the Reps, and Wednesday night is kind of like my social night because I show up there and it's all like people in hockey. Like last week, I hung out with Nick Antropoff a bunch. His kid was playing, and there's one kid playing, one kid coaching on the Don Mills team that was playing against Brody's team. And then last night, I ran into Eric Lindros, who has a couple of kids on the Titans. And then Joe Birch, who's the president of the Kitchener Rangers. So Wednesdays kind of be a hockey parent, but also like do some undercover networking. Paul Capizano, the agent from Quartex, he's got a kid, plays on JRC in 2013. So it's kind of, it's being a hockey dad, but it's also a networking evening for yours truly.
I like that. The grind never stops. The sheet getting going in a
Yeah.
little bit here. You're dropping a couple of teaser interviews. We had a few people in the chat who said they enjoyed the first one today on Spotify
Nice.
with Dan McKenzie. Give us a little teaser of what you and Dan talked about.
Well, Dan's an interesting guy right now. Dan McKenzie is, for your listeners and viewers that don't know, Dan McKenzie is the president of the Canadian Hockey League. He has had that title for 5 years. And in those 5 years, we've had 3 new commissioners named to the OHL, QMJHL, and the Western Hockey League as well. And now the bombshell, as we all know, that everyone's talking about and trying to figure out how everything is going to sort of sift out here is NCAA changing their definition of what a CHL player is, namely allowing CHL players that don't have NHL contracts to play Division I hockey as soon as next season. What does this mean for players? What does it mean for parents? What does it mean for junior hockey operators? What does it mean for leagues? What does it mean for teams? What does it mean for fans? What does it mean for the CHL NHL agreement? What does it mean for the draft? And what does it mean for a lot of things that we're missing as well? Like right now, there's a lot of talk on this podcast about things that get caught up in the gears of history. Right now, we're starting to see players leave leagues like the BCHL to go to Major Junior. We're seeing players leave the USHL stateside to go to either the Western Hockey League or the OHL to play. Do we see more this season? Do we have to wait until next year? What is this all going to look like? So that's the sort of the basis, the foundation for this sort of teaser podcast that we put out. But really, when we originally booked Dan, it was supposed to be to talk about the showcase games next week, the Prospects Challenge, CHL versus USA, where the development program is floating through to play 2 games against the top draft eligible kids from around the CHL. But dominating the conversation, as you guys well know, right now, it's on the top of a lot of people's minds. What is the relationship with, the CHL, their players, and NCAA as soon as next August when this all goes into effect? So it's about a half an hour conversation. Nice sort of thumbnail of where the CHL is at on all of this. Because I know that the Morning Cup of Hockey guys talk a lot about it from the U.S. point of view. And, they had the commissioner of the USHL on yesterday. And so today we threw on Dan McKenzie, his counterpart from the CHL.
I like that. You can find the sheet wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you go and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. Daily Face Off, YouTube as well. I want to pick your brain about the Edmonton Oilers a little bit. They are all sorts of banged up for tonight's game, and yet Knobloch still opting to go with McDavid and Draisaitl on the same line. Again, going up against Kirill Kaprizov in the Minnesota Wild. I don't mind it because it's a little power on power. But do you think this Oilers team can, for a run of 2-3 weeks, can they sustain going 29-97 on the same line, or are they just too weak or outside of that line?
How many times have we seen this before? How many times have you guys seen this before, right? In case of emergency, break glass. Look, Leon's happiest when he's playing with Connor. That's not exactly a surprise revelation to anybody. I look at tonight's game, and as much as Minnesota has impressed, and they certainly have, it's a team that has a hard time scoring goals. Do you not get the sense that tonight's game, whichever team can score 3 goals wins the game?
Yeah, probably. That's usually how it goes against Minnesota, especially in Edmonton's case. And they are not usually the team that scores 3 goals, that being the Oilers.
Yeah, but I mean, you give yourself the best chance, right? Right now, you're right. Edmonton's not just, you guys, they're not just banged up, with the big squad, but, Hamblin, Jarvente, Peterson, in Bakersfield, they're dinged up as well. Right. And last time we were together, we talked about, what do the Oilers want? They want, right-hand shot, the second pair, and, they want more speed in their top 9. And that's why they went out and got Kasperi Kapanen. It's more speed in the top 9. Arvidsson's out. Hyman's out. Maybe another reset, another shot at it for Kasperi Kapanen. The one thing he does do is he makes your team faster, and that's what Edmonton's after here. But, make no mistake about it, it's not going to be easy. Right. And it's not as if this is an Edmonton team that's banked a lot of points early. You look at a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, we know that there's a fall. It's not a massive fall, but there's going to be a step back with Carolina. They're not going to keep shooting at 25-30%. That is not going to happen. But what they've done is they've banked a lot of points. Winnipeg has banked a lot of points. So when they have their inevitable step back, they're still going to be fine. Edmonton hasn't done that. Now, you could also make the argument, listen, we haven't even seen anywhere close to what the Edmonton Oilers can be. Like, they have not been able to string together any type of consistency this season. But you look at it and you say, when this team is healthy, we all recall what the Edmonton Oilers were able to do last season. And by and large, we expect something similar this season, but it hasn't been there. Right now, it's game to game, do what you have to do to win. I'm not surprised to see 97 and 29 on the same line. We've seen this before, no matter who was the coach back there. It is the Edmonton Oilers security blanket. I understand the idea of trying to spread it out over the lines, but when you need to manufacture a goal, not unlike what Joel Quenneville used to do with Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, the wise thing is, the coach thing to do is put those two guys together. Because again, first to three wins tonight's game. Watch this be an 8-6 special.
Take the over. Where I kind of wanted to go from that, you touched on the blue line. And yeah, last time we had you on, we talked about they're looking for someone in that right side of the top four to slot in there. But what kind of archetype of a defenseman do you think fits best in this group they currently have? I know we had Frank on yesterday doing his trade targets. And like on one end of the spectrum, you have Marcus Pettersson. Defense first, shuts down. Doesn't pass the puck great. On the other end, you have Mike Matheson. Then you got names in the middle. Provorov's not perfectly in the middle, but he's somewhere in there. What kind of D-man should they be looking at?
I think it's someone that moves the puck. I think it's someone that moves the puck to the forwards. I really do. And it's someone that, here I go. I hate taking a shot at Evan Bouchard, but like that Amadio goal like the other day, like woof. But the thing about, Bouchard, as we all know, he gets you back with two slap shots, and then all of a sudden it's, Bouchard is back. But to me, it's someone that can move the puck to the forwards. I mean, it's kind of a long story with the Edmonton Oilers. Like back in the Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Jordan Eberle days, like I never felt like we had a real snapshot of how good that team could be, because there wasn't anyone on the back end that could get the puck to the forwards. And then by Christmas time, the entire team was out of the playoff picture. So if I'm Edmonton, I'm looking for someone that can move the puck and get it to the forwards, or just get it to 97 and start grooving. To me, that's the kind of defenseman I'd be looking at here. What do you guys think?
I'm fully on the puck mover side. I think you look back at Darnell Nurse's kind of past partners. It was a super short sample size, great numbers with Bouchard. Super short sample size, great numbers with Broberg. Those are both guys who make a good first pass, and I think they just free up Darnell to be himself a little bit more.
Skate.
He played with CC a lot, but the results weren't good, and Cody CC couldn't pass the puck. So I think it's a puck mover no matter what.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's someone like it just honestly very, 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 very simple defense. Puck goes in, puck goes out. Puck goes in, puck goes out. Give me that guy all day.
What did you make of that hit in Toronto last night?
I was fine with it. I don't think it should have even been a penalty. Matthew, first of all, that is classic. Like, that is a really, really smart play with some great back pressure from, it would have been Keegan Colasar, I believe, who was on Matthew Nyes, and just sort of funneled him right into Zach Whitecloud. Like, to me, that wasn't, because listen, the outrage machine is going to get fired up, and it's going to be times 10 because it's Toronto. But I didn't see Zach Whitecloud going after Nyes in any cheap way. He was trying to hit through the body. His feet are on the ice at the point of contact. We all know when you make contact like that, your feet do come up after contact. I had about zero problem with that. I think that is a young player who made a very young mistake in the neutral zone against a very big physical defenseman. Like, I think the hit to me kind of looked, it looked like a Jacob Trouba hit, didn't it? Like the way, and again, like the overwhelming majority of Jacob Trouba hits. I know not a lot of people like Jacob Trouba, but the one thing you have to admit is a lot of those hits are clean. The majority of those hits are clean. They're just violent. They just have like a really tough outcome for the player that's getting hurt or getting hits. I don't think that Matthew Nyes makes that same mistake again. I think that is a case of a young player who just learned a lesson about how you need to be aware when you're gathering speed through the neutral zone. I didn't see anything dirty from Whitecloud on that one at all. The elbow was tucked, the feet were on the ice, and he tried to hit through the body. Matthew Knies was completely eligible to be hit at that time. Unfortunately for him, he had his head down at the point of impact. How'd you guys see it?
Pretty much the same.
I thought the Leafs fans who were comparing it to the Reeves hit, like, again, player puts himself in a bad spot. Did Darnell Nurse put himself in a bad spot?
Yes.
I think so. But when you do that, you're susceptible to getting a clean hit, not a dirty hit. And Reeves picked his head. This one here, like, Matthew Knies has his eyes on Whitecloud, or should have his eyes on Whitecloud the whole time. Like you said, I think he's learned a lesson of, oh yeah, that guy will rock me if I put myself in that spot. He sees him the whole time and stays crouched over. Like, he can't do that.
Yeah. No, you can't. The thing I think that got Reeves, like, does Darnell Nurse need to be more aware? Like, how many times have you seen it? Like, we used to see this about 20 years ago all the time with Colby Armstrong and Rafi Torres. Like, when the defenseman comes out from around the corner, that winger comes screaming in for that peekaboo hit. We've seen it plenty of times. We don't see it a ton anymore, but coming around the net, like, you need to be aware of who's coming and who it is. And their reputation. It seemed like Nurse was too casual about his own safety and his own security at that point. But what I think got Reeves the suspension there is that last little lunge with the shoulder up to the head. That's what got Ryan Reeves in trouble. The Whitecloud hit is a guy that's just trying to straighten up Matthew Knies. It's a head-to-head collision, straight up hit. Whitecloud's trying to go through the body. The problem is, Matthew Knies was leading with his head and his eyes watching the puck.
Jeff, as always, appreciate you squeezing us in, and we look forward to doing this more regularly as we cruise along here.
Can I ask you a question? Did either of you guys watch that Buffalo-LA game last night?
No, wasn't it 1-0?
You win. Okay, that was, for all of your listeners and viewers, as much as we talk about this game was great, that game was great, those are 2.5 hours that no one's getting back. That may have been the most boring game of the season. For anyone who stayed up like me to watch that thing last night, I feel your pain.
Ugh.
I feel your pain.
42 total shots on goal. Okay, well now since you've opened up the games last night,
look what happened after. Look at after 40. Like, at least we had some more chances in the third period. But, like, if you're watching the first two periods of that game, why are you sticking around? Unless you're a Kings or a Sabres fan, why are you sticking around for the third period? It was one of those games where you say to yourself, you know what, I should probably go sort out my sock drawer. I gotta do something a little bit more exciting here.
Speaking of last night's games, is there anything kookier than a team getting a penalty for not icing the right starting lineup? Like, come on, Nashville, let's go.
I got so many texts from people. Is that a rule? Yes, that's a rule. It's a very simple. It has happened before. It's not the first time. As much as teams talk about attention to details, that applies behind the bench as well. When you're filling out the lineup, that one was it's always a stunner when it happens. But, like, honestly, like, if there was a game where you were going to say it was going to happen, it was a game involving Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Just makes sense.
They have just been brutal. All right, we'll keep talking about all this stuff and more next week. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, boys. Be good.
Yeah.
There we go. Jeff Marek on the Star Mechanical guest line, starmechanical.ca. We got a couple minutes left in the show. So you want to do, I know what segment you want to do.
Oh, you want me to pick up my notepad?
Oh, I was going to say Bet365 Gameday Betting Challenge.
Oh, yeah, we got a couple of good ones coming up.
You like that one. One. Shout out to our friends at Bet365. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Our boy Liam's coming off a big win. Jay always makes fun of you for not swinging for the fences. And, look, the graphics even updated today because Liam's coming off a win.
Yeah, that's a pretty big win. 550 plus 550 I hit the other night. So that'll help.
Yeah, Jay hit a big one too. Yep. Credit to him.
Credit to Jay, plus 300. He's swinging for the fences tonight. He wanted to let you all know that that's what he'll be doing every single game now.
Yeah, he's not going to stop swinging for the fences. AB, flash up the first one for today's picks. Who do we got? It's me. McDavid, 4+ shots on goal, has hit this in 4 of his last 5 games. He has been a shot on goal machine for the Edmonton Oilers, and I think that will continue this evening. He had 5 against the Senators. McDavid, 2+ points. He's hit this in 4 of his last 5 games. So, again, Connor McDavid's on an absolute run right now. All I want to do is keep profiting off it. So give me the plus 200 payout there.
I'll be doing something similar outside of the game day bets, but I'm just going to go with Draisaitl 2+ because McDavid 2+ is not plus money.
No, it's minus 130.
Yes.
So, I mean, I like taking Draisaitl in that spot too.
Yeah, it's the same difference, really, isn't it?
Yep. Jay's bet.
Everything.
Everything.
Eriksson Ek goal, Draisaitl goal, Oilers money line plus 1,600.
16-1 on this bad boy. Eriksson Ek has 5 goals this year in 16 games.
How he does score against the Oilers fairly often. If I remember, like last year he did. Pulling it up here quickly.
Pull it up. Anyways, Jay keeps swinging for the fences.
Against the Oilers, he has 8 goals in 17 games, which is the second most he has against any team in the NHL. He has 10 against the Kings.
I have a futures bet that I wanna let you in on. All right.
You won't tell me this before the show.
Okay, so I know. Listen, my reputation with these futures isn't great. I gave everyone that guy to win the Heisman, Miller Moss. Not even close.
The Elks.
The Elks weren't even close either.
Playoffs.
But this one is too juicy to pass up, Liam.
Okay.
The Calder Trophy. Matvei Michkov's minus 130. He is the runaway favorite. It's basically Michkov versus the field. And I get it. He's off to a very good start.
Okay.
But there's a guy who is third on the board at plus 550.
I don't know who this would be.
Macklin Celebrini.
Oh, yeah, that kid can play.
Macklin Celebrini to win the Calder Trophy this year at plus 550, I think is a terrific spot. When you go look at the goals this year in the rookie race, he's got 4 in 9 games.
Yeah.
If he doesn't even have to keep up close to this pace. He has to be in the same stratosphere of it. Michkov's the runaway favorite. He's got 2 less goals than Michkov in 9 fewer games.
The only worrying part is, San Jose just set him to the side again for a few games. That's the only part, but I think it is actually a pretty good swing.
I'm taking the swing. I'm taking the swing.
I would too.
Macklin Celebrini to win the Calder. Let's ride together. Let's do it.
Mistaken Mexican, good point. Dustin Wolf as well. Last goalie to win it.
Steve Mason.
Was it Steve Mason?
I think it was Steve Mason.
It was, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Who's second? Who is second?
The stanky oven.
He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
Where's Ty Anderson? Surely he's on the list.
No, he had 30 games. He's not a rookie anymore.
Oh, I thought the benchmark was.
No, it's like 20 something.
Oh, okay.
Matt Rempe, 3,001.
He hasn't played 30 games?
No, I guess not.
So
give me Macklin, Mac Attack plus 550. Let's go.
I like this rookie class. I think it's really the kind of obvious name coming up, the next generation of superstars in the league.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's wrap up the show with little keys to victory.
Oh, there's something else I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
About Bet365.
Okay.
Did you see they updated their football props? So you can now bet 10 for every 10 yards.
Oh, it's 10 now.
You can do the 10. So it used to be, for people who don't know, just every 25. Now that you can do it, it's 10, 20, 30,
Let's
40,
go.
50. And George Pickens, this is my bet of the day, folks. So buckle up. George Pickens, 70 plus yards is plus 160. He's hit it in like 6 straight games.
70 yards?
Yeah. I got it last night. That's what I do before.
Okay. I would do that with Njoku at 40 and Cedric Tillman at 40.
So my friend Greg, shout out to Greg.
The egg.
Greg the egg. Last week, because it's Cleveland, Pittsburgh tonight. It should be an okay game. He put a bet down for Jerry Jeudy to have 125 yards or more.
Oh my God, Greg!
And he hit it. So Jerry Jeudy tonight is plus money to get 70 or more. And with Jameson what's his name?
Winston.
Jameis Winston, he has had over 70 yards in every game because Winston just slings the ball. He'll throw like 20 picks, but
yeah,
Jeudy will get his yards.
All right. Well, you want to get really in the weeds?
We
with
may
it?
as well. We got a new fun game on Bet365.
35-1.
All right.
Jeudy Pickens 100 plus each.
I don't think that's the worst bet in the world.
And there's a $10 safety net bet.
There you go. What does that mean?
I don't know. I just clicked it. So exciting.
$10 back. There you go. Jason Greger just texted me, tagged me in a tweet. Devin Shore makes his season debut tonight for the Wild. There you go.
Let him know.
Greger knows.
Let him know, Gregs. All right. We got to wrap up with our keys to victory for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, right in the heart of Sherwood Park, right down the street from our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Hit the trails this winter, the waves next summer, $50 bi-weekly ATVs, $105 bi-weekly boats, motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, and more. They got it all at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. What do the Oilers need to do tonight? That's my first down signal. Boom.
They got to try and lock down that first line, and allow the depth
point.
of the Minnesota Wild to beat them. I think that's where I got to go. You got to make it low event hockey because the Wild don't give up a ton of goals. They've been great on the road. Let me just check. 8-1-2 on the road this season.
8-1-2.
They only have 12 wins on the year. They're pretty good. Pretty good team. I don't get it. The Minnesota Wild. Are they becoming the Minnesota Wild?
Are they wildly exciting?
They might be. Remember we went to that game last year? Not together, but we were in the same section, coincidentally.
Oh, wait, what was this?
Minnesota.
That was a win.
No, they lost 4-2.
Oh, yeah.
Because Pickett didn't play very well.
Yeah, you're right. Rats. I have a funny feeling tonight's going to be a forgettable one. But I'll be in the building, so go Oil.
Could totally see this being like a 3-1 loss, empty net or something stupid. Like
Or
that.
Edmonton wins 3-1.
Yeah,
and
like something on
and
that
Skinner stops like 23 of 24. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, this Gustafsson fella is pretty good, though.
He's not playing tonight, though.
No? I thought he was.
It's Flower. We did this earlier in the show.
Oh, on the game notes, it says Gustafsson is playing. My apologies.
Well, I only trust dailyfaceoff.com, Liam.
There you go.
There's your starting goalies for
Well,
tonight.
he's old.
So old. And the cold air will be bad for his bones.
Yeah, I mean, if Corey Perry scores on him tonight, we'll be throwing back the years.
And just throwing it back in general.
Yeah.
Oh. No?
Sure.
Hope everyone enjoyed that edition of the show. We don't have a guest tomorrow, so let us know what you think we should do. Who do you like?
Should we get Cam on?
Haven't had Hot Honey in a while.
We could get Hot Honey. Yeah, maybe we'll get Hot Honey to come and join us.
Hot Honey.
Some Blue Jay. Sure, his free agency started.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Tomorrow's maybe not a bad day for a little Hot Honey.
Yeah, he could spice things up a little bit.
All right.
He's always got some random facts. I'll ask him.
All right.
So
Maybe we'll have Coombsy tomorrow. And if you guys want anyone else, just let us know and I'll text him. Maynard said Puckpedia guy. That we're probably due for a good Hart Levine sesh.
Yeah, maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
I feel like with Hart, you got to have him at the right time because there's only so many things you can ask him about, right?
I know.
There's only so many cap questions. And my only cap question.
Also, we haven't had Huts on all year.
We had him on earlier in the year when he said that Matt Larkin was wrong about his rankings.
Yeah, we did.
DJ,
we haven't had DJ on in a while.
DJ has been a long time.
Get Sabrina Carpenter on.
That would be cool. We can talk about the song Juno. What's Tate McRae doing? Get us off.
All right, that's enough of this show. Aaron's coming up with pregame with Boardsy, 6 o'clock start tonight. He's got postgame immediately after the show. New episode of Real Life going to drop in a little bit. If you're on the roads, drive safe. Enjoy the hockey game tonight, and we'll see you right back here Friday edition of the program at noon. Mountain Oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.